everyone, Jag Taggart 93 here with another comprehensive Doom WOD review. Today we're looking at Iron Lords. Now, Iron Lords overall is a pretty good map that strives to deliver a balanced experience. And it kinda sorta does, but doesn't. I mean, it starts off pretty hard, pretty tricky, and then it really drops, gets very simple. There's some ambushes, but they're really not too big of a deal to negotiate. And some tricky traps along the way too. Again, they're not a big deal. And then the difficulty ramps way up at the very end, mostly because you're not quite sure what to do, and I'll get into a little bit, but first let me explain the beginning. Now, like I said, the beginning is kind of tricky. On Ultraviolence, you see a group of pistol dudes right in front of you, and there's two shotgun guys in front of the pistol guys. So one common tactic one may use is exactly what I did, where you run up around this group of soldiers, get the shotgun guys within your sights, line them up, fire your shotgun. Hopefully you take out both shotgun guys and a handful of the pistol guys in one shot while you're moving in anticipation for any stragglers. And that was my strategy. So ordinarily that would work just fine. However, and I think the author anticipated this and maybe pay for it, when I went to flank this group, there's two chain gunners in the rear of the room that will open fire as soon as they see you, that you quite can't see them because of the cover. So yeah, doing that exposes you to chain gun fire and turns you into Swiss cheese. Not recommended. And the end is very difficult too, in a very similar way. So in the final room, there are two cyber demons, and they flank some switches and a locked door at the very end of this room. Now, a first timer would think all they have to do is clear the room of the weaker demons, and you can have the cyber demons do that for you, which is what I did. And then, maybe bottleneck the ones that are, don't get taken out by the cyber demon rockets. And then once the room is clear, all you got to do, one would think, is run throughout the room, dodge the rockets, flip the switches, which should open the locked door, and then you'd be on your way to the exit. That's what I thought, but, I'm flipping the switches and that door ain't opening. Meanwhile, I'm getting pelted with rockets and I die. So what you're actually supposed to do here is those switches you're flipping actually open up two teleporters. Each teleporter goes to a respective cyber demon. And you can probably guess what you're supposed to do from here. You get on a teleporter, you telefrag a cyber demon, and each cyber demon has another switch behind them. When you kill both cyber demons via telefragging or however, but definitely telefragging is always fun, and flip both switches, then you're on your way. And even though I should have seen it coming, because it's me and I have a phobia about archviles, I really do. Right before the end, there's two archviles that flank you, and again, not that big of a deal. I had plenty of BFG ammunition to go around, so, but it was a fun little last middle finger to me, I guess. But I enjoyed that part. So overall, it's a pretty decent WOD with some competently placed monsters and items. The aesthetics aren't really anything special to look at for the most part, although I was a fan of the floor pentagram room, actually. Now, overall, we got a pretty good product here, and that's why I'm giving it a 65%, which means it's good. And it does almost everything it really should do competently well enough. I don't think it's overall very balanced, because again, like I said, the difficulty here is kind of like a bell curve. Starts out pretty hard, and then it drops off, even though there are some pretty clever ambush points, but they're not really too punishing to make it unforgivable. And then the very end ratchets it right up, and I was kind of surprised, actually. I don't want to say I was falling asleep, but I was having more or less a pretty easy time. Then I see the two cyber demons, and I was like, oh, okay, let's dance. So, overall, it's a good WOD. It's not quite in the great category. Maybe it could have been a little longer. Maybe some more instances of a higher difficulty throughout. Maybe have the ambushes a little more punishing and not as telegraphed. I'm all for having ambushes that are hinted at, but not telegraphed. There's a fine line there, and it's really tricky to really know what I mean. But for example, if you see two doors in front of you, and you see a key, if you get the key, those doors are going to open. That kind of kills any sense of tension. However, if you have a gradual build of monsters increasing in difficulty, or a gradual build in ambience, maybe have more gore the further you go in, or change the scenery in some way, that's how you can ratchet up to your ambush points and have it feel a little bit more organic. But I'm aware I'm nitpicking, because overall it is a pretty solid map, and 60% maps I tend to rate as good, so definitely try this one out. It'll take most experienced players about 20 to 30 minutes to play through on Ultraviolence. Alright, and that is it. Thank you all for watching. This is Jag Taggart 93, signing out. You have a good one.